the young, hard-throwing right-hander who's trying to finish over 500, Brett Tomko.
Well, he's been motivated. Brett has over the last few starts, really trying to get his record up there. He desperately wanted to win 15 games. That will work out. He's lost 4 of his last 5 decisions. Some of those games, however, he's pitched pretty well, and the Reds just have not given him enough runs. Overall, the numbers on Tomko not bad. Less hits than innings pitched. This guy would no more like anything else than get a win here on the last day of the season and go home 1 game over 5.
Tomko against Womack, and as we outline our lineup, a story that is unfolding today, and as the first pitch is delivered, the Reds on this final day of 1998 make some history, because for Cincinnati today there are 2 Larkins and 2 Boones in the lineup. There's Stephen Larkin, activated today, starting at first base. Stephen Larkin at first, Barry Larkin at short, Brett Boone at second, and Aaron Boone at third. There is the Reds captain. So for the Reds, there are 2 sets of brothers in the starting lineup today, and it's the first time in the history of Major League Baseball the 2 sets of brothers have appeared in the same ball game. Brett Boone at second and Aaron Boone over at third. The Reds did do it twice in spring training the last couple of years, but this is the first time in a Major League ball game. Womack pops it foul down the left field line. And while this might just be a statistic to some folks sitting at home, for the Reds captain Barry Larkin, this is a very, very important and impressive moment for him. Barry has always said that he wanted to appear in the same lineup with his brother Stephen, and he's getting the chance to do that today. So it's Larkins and Boones across the infield for the Reds today, and Tomko's even 2 balls and 2 strikes. Anyone who's ever had a brother or sister and played with them, for the opportunity to do this at a Major League level, you know what that'll mean. The first and only time 2 sets of brothers have appeared in the same game playing for the same team. And Womack spoils another. It stays at 2-2. I think, Chris, it's safe to say that of all the brothers involved, this means more to Barry Larkin than anybody.
Oh, I think so too. You know, Stephen Larkin would love to have had this happen sometime maybe 2 or 3 months ago, maybe earned his way up to the big leagues the old-fashioned way, but this is probably the only opportunity they're going to get to do that. And Barry Larkin having meant so much to this franchise, I think it's nice to see both those guys out there. Last game of the year gives you the liberty to do these kind of things.
And here is your defensive alignment. You see Pettigini, Sanders, and Nunley across the outfield, and you're all Boone and Larkin infield. Stephen at first, Brett at second, Barry at short, and Aaron at third. And Brooke Fordyce will get the start behind the plate as the catcher today. Womack retired on the fly ball, and here's Adrian Brown. Brown in at 284 on the year. No home runs at 5 runs batted in. Tomko will take care of this, and quickly there's 2 away. I think when you look at Brett Tomko's numbers, Chris, here against the Pirates, 0-2, he's been roughed up a bit by Pittsburgh. What really stands out on the total year numbers, and probably the most important figure, is the total number of starts and over 200 innings. That's what a young pitcher needs.
You know, you really do. You want that. You want durability out of a pitcher, and Brett Tomko certainly has shown that. What you don't see in the obvious numbers of Brett Tomko that I think stand out if you take a closer look at him is that he's not done very well in stranding runners on base. It seems when the opposition gets in scoring position, he makes a mistake pitch. It may cost him the ball game. What it does do is cost him a couple of runs in each of those games, and I think that's the reason why he's right at 500 now instead of maybe 3 or 4 games over.
Consistency is something that you improve on from year to year as a young pitcher. He has shown brilliance and flashes of the kind of stuff that can make him a 20-game winner. How to do that on a consistent basis is something that he's tried to learn again in 1998, and will apply that to 99.
If you talk to Brett about what he has learned this year, he'll tell you, you know, I've learned how to talk to the media in the proper way. He said a couple of things regarding the Mark McGwire chase that came back to haunt him, made him a national celebrity for a short period of time. He also had a little bit of a blow up in spring training with Jack McKeon and kind of got off on the wrong foot as far as the season goes there. So I think he has matured mentally probably as much as he has in any other pitching way.
2 balls and 2 strikes to the young right fielder for the Pirates, Jose Guillen. Guillen slumping as the year comes to an end, and I think the Pirates know what hitting the wall means in 1998. The end of August, they looked like they were going to have a run at third place. As it turns out, they'll finish last in the division. A 1-2-3 inning for Tomko. We're heading to the bottom of one. Reggie Sanders, Barry Larkin, and Stephen Larkin due up.
Chris, how much change do you see in this club in 1999?
I don't see a lot of change, Marty. I see some opportunity out there for young players that still want to be able to be part of the future here. I don't think that the Reds, even though John Allen has said he's going to increase the payroll, I don't see him increasing it by another $20 million, which will put him into the category in which they could go out and get some legitimate free agents. I mean, some big-time players and pitchers. I don't see that happening. So I see that you're going to see a pretty steady roster. I'm not even so sure that he's going to see a very active trading season, especially if Jim Bowden is able to land a job somewhere else.
One down in the inning as Stephen Larkin steps in. He has lined to left and struck out his first 2 times up in the big leagues. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the Reds and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of the Reds and Fox Sports Ohio. 1 strike and nothing on Stephen. But George, there have to be changes. I mean, I know Jack McKeon and I talked a number of times the last week. You make changes oftentimes for the sake of making changes. People get tired of seeing the same old faces. Even if you don't better yourself in certain circumstances, at least you try and give yourself a little bit of a different look.
I think the keys first, who's going to be the center fielder and leadoff hitter. If he continues, and he talked today about going down to the instructional league for a couple of weeks and continuing to build arm strength. If you can plug him, how about this?
How about that?
Right.
First major league base hit for Stephen Larkin, and he hit an absolute seed through the right side of the infield. As we take a look into the dugout and Brother Barry and a quick look at Stephen, he has got to be absolutely bubbling over with happiness, and I can't imagine what Brother Barry is thinking right now. That was huge.
Outstanding. Outstanding. Congratulations, Stephen. Standing ovation in the stands, and they're going to send Watkins in. This is great. That's for you, Mom.
Check Barry out. He's thrilled to death. That's great. That is great.
You know, the other thing, Marty, when you talk about rebuilding and trying to get people to follow the ball club, is that you have to create some kind of a love affair with certain players on a team, and a roster that is in constant turmoil, that will continually turn over in search of, you know, players that you think are going to be good, or getting some fringe major league players hoping to capture lightning in a bottle. That is awfully tough to do. You need to get some guys, and maybe they've begun to do that with guys like Sean Casey and Dimitri Young, and you keep this double play combination together. Now you have people who can identify what the lineup of the Reds is going to be on a day-to-day basis. Instead of wondering who the heck is on the team, I need a program to come out and find out who the Reds are.
Gene Lamont hoping Silva can make Aaron Boone the final out of the inning and dodge a bullet. And he got one back into deep left field, and Aaron Boone has struck.
All right.
Jumping all over a 2-0 pitch for his second home run, and a most propitious time it comes at, jumping the Reds out in front 4-1. That home run by Aaron Boone means another $100 will be donated to the United Way by each of our corporate sponsors in the United Way Home Run Derby.